Hello, Hero Collectors here. How's it going, everybody? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. I know I am, and today I'm going to be reviewing these three Marvel Legends X-Force figures. We have X-23 and Warpath, who came in a 2-pack together, and then we have Archangel, who came in a deluxe pack on his own. We're going to go with Archangel, then go to X-23, and then Warpath. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Alright, taking a closer look at Archangel here, you'll notice I don't have the wings on him at the moment, but we will get to those here in just a few. I just wanted to let you guys pour over the figure on his own. This is the exact same mold as the Angel that we got last year, who was in the red and whites. It's the same port system and same base body, which is a usage of the Vulcan limbs, but with a different torso because he doesn't have the butterfly joints. I like the blue here for the face and the nice red eyes with the shadowing there. That looks really good. The silver is a bit iffy at points, like this shoulder here. There's a couple points here at the abs where it didn't quite get painted. This hip is a little rough, but otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. As you can just see kind of the details. He's even got a little bit on the feet there. But yeah, in terms of sculpt, it's just a base body, not a lot of extra detail except for the head sculpt where these silver bits are actually raised. So you can see that, and it painted pretty well. So yeah, let's go over the accessories. He does have a set of fists, no paint on those, but they are pretty standard. But then he does have a set of clawed, kind of open hands. You can kind of use them to grip somebody, but not grip anything like a utensil or anything, or a weapon, but those look pretty good. And then he has this rather angry head sculpt, which I like, and will probably be what I display him with, where he's got his mouth open and very angry expression. If you come to the other side, you can see the mouth is actually an insert piece that goes in the back of the jaw, I suppose you could say. But yeah, there is that. But now we have to bring in the wings. So let's actually look at one set of wings individually. As you can see, they fold out. They've got detents here on the inside, but they look pretty good. Molded in the silver, I believe, and not painted. Maybe they are painted, because this little bit here looks a little less silvery than the others. But I'm not 100% on that. I could be very, very wrong, and this is just molded in this color. But it looks really good. Very reflective. I like these wings. I don't know if I like them more than the previous blue and pink Archangel, but I do think these are pretty solid. He's even got this extra piece here that kind of folds out. Now, something that I did, if you want to have him in a neutral stance on the shelf, but still have the wings kind of displayed, if you pop them like this, you can still have him on display with wings, but it looks more like he's kind of folded them up and can walk around. So if you are one that doesn't want the full wings displayed, but still wants to have him standing neutral on a shelf like this, you can do that. I like that. It's something, I don't think it's meant to be like that, but it is something you can finagle with how these are designed. So we can put that there. Let's put this wing back on. And if I can, there, okay. There. Easy enough. You can get them back on, no problem. Let's bring the other set of wings in here. And they are rather large despite how curved they are. You can see just how big they are. Yeah, rather wide wings there. So let's actually bring him in a little. Actually, we'll keep him out like this because we have some more accessories to go over. He comes with 2 sets of these flying quills. These are usually projectiles that he fires from his wings, and they go onto, if I don't knock him over, they go onto the wings here at the end, and it's a little difficult to do, but there. So they just slide in. There's a very specific way to do it. Now, I don't love this. The way that the wings are angled and how these are angled on top of them, it doesn't give a very easy effect to place in a photo, or it's very awkward. So when I imagine him usually throwing the quills, they come from here. So I wish they could have figured out a way to kind of port them in, maybe just hide a peg like right here or something, and we could have pegged him in this way and it'd have been easier to display on the figure. But still, I appreciate the effort and inclusion. I just don't think it was done as effectively as I would have liked. So with all that gone over, let's go over the articulation. So the head is on a ball and hinge, so he can look up that high, and he can look down that far, and of course look side to side. And he's got a little bit of tilt, not a ton. The wings are plugged in here so they can rotate on that port. He's also got a hinge here so they can go in and out. The back wing has a port so it can only go in and out like that. This can then hinge like so. So you can get quite a bit of range. You can go up, you can go down, you can fold them across his body. They're pretty solid in terms of Archangel wings. Let's tuck them back a little bit further. So now we'll go over the shoulders. They can go up that high, do a full 360, bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows, and then all the hands hinge down and up. Then you can get a little bit further there. It does have an ab crunch, which can go up. Gotta really tuck that wing in. Go in that much, and can go back that far. It does get a little gappy in the actual crunch itself, as you can see. I gotta really adjust these wings. I am sorry for all the background noise, but that's just what you get with these. So he does have a waist swivel. His hip can go out that far. Can't kick forward that much. He's got a thigh cut there. Double jointed pinless knees, can kick his own butt, not a problem. He's got a boot cut. Slide right there. Toes can go down. It can go up quite a bit, and he does have ankle pivot. So what are my final thoughts on Archangel? Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with this Archangel figure. I was really hoping we would get some updates to Archangel, both in this costume and the blue and pink look, once we got that new Angel last year, so this is a great start to that. My biggest complaint really is the quills, and I've already kind of gone over that. Everything else is pretty solid. I would maybe like to see some variation on these wings. I don't love how curved they are, but I would like to see maybe different of the largest piece, the end piece of the main wing in the future, but that's a minor complaint, nothing that really takes away from this figure itself. Otherwise, it's just a really satisfying update to this. I never had the previous X-Force Archangel look. That was, I want to say, an SDCC exclusive 3-pack that I never got, and I'm glad to now have this one instead. Does he have the fun factor? Yeah, I would say so. It's a very dynamic figure. I love the inclusion of the screaming head and the clawed hands. I read this X-Force run, so I knew a bit of what this Archangel got up to, and it was nice to have that as a reference to pose him. To give him a rating, I would say it is a pretty solid 8 out of 10. He's got some quirks, mainly with the quills. I would like to see some different wings in the future, but overall, I think for the price, being a deluxe, it is a solid pickup. Moving on here to X-23. We have seen this costume before, but it was on an older buck, so she did have the pins and single-jointed elbows. This one, of course, is now pinless and has double-jointed elbows. I would have maybe liked to have seen an updated torso here where she has the inverted ab crunch to kind of improve these younger female bodies so that we can get more range on those, but just getting the elbows pinless and double-jointed is a big win for me, win for this figure, in my opinion. She's got the belt there. It's free-floating piece. It really likes to fly around when I was posing her. It does have a bit of silver missing there, and the hips are a little scratched up, but otherwise, I don't know of any serious other paint issues. We go to the back here. You can see that. She's got her midriff showing. And coming down to the legs, some gray paint there on the black. She's got boots, and she always has her claws extended. I kind of wish that was optional, but at the same time, I understand why they didn't, because I have the Wolverine X-23 figure, and I have lost one of the foot claws on her, so it's both a pro and a con that they are here and secured into the feet. She's got some cuffs on the wrist, and the head sculpt looking pretty good. This is a brand new head with the angry expression. So speaking of the head, we'll move on to the accessories now. So she also comes with a screaming masked head, which is probably what I'm going to be using with this figure. I will put the unmasked head on my previous X-23 X-Force figure just to kind of spice up that figure a little bit more. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like the red and the mask on her. And as you can see, she has a set of fists, but she also has a set of kind of relaxed, open hands that we have seen before. They seem a little small, but I think they fit for this body. And then it wouldn't be X-23 without a set of clawed hands. And this set came out fine. This one, not so much. I keep having to adjust it, but these are the old style claws that always get warped and are kind of janky. So that is disappointing for her. But now let's go over articulation. The head is on a ball and hinge, so she can look down that far. She can't really look up a ton just because of the hair sculpt. Let's actually pop the head off, and we'll see if this head can get a little bit more range so she can look down that far. And yeah, not a ton up just because of the hair with both heads. Shoulders can go up that high. Can do a full 360 if you move the hair out of the way. Bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows. All the hands hinge down and up. And then torso can go back a little bit, forward a tiny bit. You can get twisting, not much pivot or tilting. Hips can go out that far. She can kick forward, and back not so much. Thigh cut, double jointed pinless knee, and if you really push it, she can kick her own butt. Boot swivel. Feet can go up, they can go down, and she does have ankle pivot. So what are my final thoughts on this X-23 X-Force figure? So I'm glad to have an update to the previous X-23 figure, but I think this is only an update in the sense of the deco and really the pinlessness with the double joints. The torso really needed some more range. Even getting that inverted ab crunch would have given it more range, but not even mentioning the lack of range the diaphragm already has. So I think that could have really been improved. The toe claws are, it's both a pro and a con to have them always glued in. It did make her a little harder to stand and pose in, like, say, a running pose. The claws are another downgrade, or a minus on this figure, not a downgrade, but I would have liked to have seen them implement some of the movie style claws where they're a bit thicker and usually come out a bit straighter on those hands. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I'm happy to have this as an update to the previous X-23, but I don't think it was enough of an update to say that this is a perfect figure of this costume. Does she have the fun factor? I'm going to say no. The limited range of the articulation, the difficulty I had with the feet claws and then the claws themselves did make for a harder time to pose her. That doesn't mean she's a bad figure. And then for a final rating, I'm going to give her, let's say, a 7 out of 10. She's got some issues. Actually, I'm going to say a 6 out of 10. This really could have been improved a bit more. Although I am happy to have this, it feels like one that we will still need an updated version of in the next couple of years, if that makes sense. And finally, here we are at Warpath, the biggest of the three figures. He is built off of the more recent Venom base body, where he's got the butterfly joints and the super articulated crunch here. At the torso, where the original base of this was Omega Red, and he only had, I believe it was the crunch, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we can just kind of pour over the figure here and see all the painted grays to him. He's got a sheath there. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Got the cuffs there. Nice X painted there on the belt buckle. Going down the legs, more gray on the black. Some nice military boots. But yeah, looking at the face sculpt, pretty solid. I like the hair. I'll get into the head, my issues with the fact that this is our only head with this figure in a bit. But getting into the accessories, he comes with a set of grip hands, as you can see, and it looks like they have a extended index finger for a trigger finger if you really want to use that. But then he also has a set of fisted hands and a set of knives to go into said grip hands. But then when you come around to the sheath here, you can put one in that side and one in this side, and they are stored very well. You can see them from the front there, but they don't really hinder a ton unless you throw the arms back. But even then, you can work around it. So with all that, let's go over the articulation. His head is on a ball peg, so he can look down that much. He can look up a tiny bit. He can look side to side, of course, and he gets some tilt and expression there. He's got some butterfly joints that can make him go back that far and get some good crossbody like so. Shoulders go up that much. You can do a full 360 bicep swivel, double jointed pinned elbows. This is a reused body, so there's that. All hands hinge down and up. He's got the super articulated torso, so he can twist. You can go back. I don't know why they chose to have... Oh, you can't quite see it. There is a flesh-colored pin in there, so if you really crank it back, you can see that, and it's kind of distracting. It kind of cuts through the black of the costume. But yeah, I can go back that far and crunch forward a little bit, and of course twist and tilt. But then he also has the inverted ab crunch, so he can go down that far with that, and back that far with it, and then, yeah, back that far with just the ab crunch, but then, yeah, the diaphragm, both directions, and he can get pretty far. The hips can't, well, they can go out that far, not a ton. Can't kick forward. He's got a thigh cut. He's got double jointed pinned knees. He has a boot swivel. If you go down, they go up, and he does have ankle pivots. So what are my final thoughts on Warpath here? I think my biggest complaint with this figure is the fact that he doesn't come with an alternate head. The kind of neutral, angry expression that he has is nice, but I would have liked to have seen a screaming expression, just because, you know, he is a warrior. He's charging into battle. He's got knives. He's going to be up close to the battle, so you want to have that kind of expression on a character like this. The random pin in the torso is kind of distracting when you articulate him. And I think that's really it for my complaints. You know, I think this is a solid body mold. I know a lot of people don't love the fact that he's pinned, but this body in particular doesn't warp a ton. It's like in the knees and the elbows, so it doesn't bother me too much. I love the weapon storage, and just overall the shape of him is very solid for a Warpath figure. So, I mean, the biggest thing is the head. I really would have enjoyed him a bit more if I could have swapped out the head for a more angry expression when posing. Does he have the fun factor? I don't think he does. Without that head, it doesn't look as good when he's just kind of stoic and angry like this in every fight. It just kind of takes away a little bit. So I'm going to say no for the fun factor. And then to give him a final rating, I think I'm going to have to give him a 7. I enjoyed posing him a bit more than I did Laura, but it still isn't quite as good as Warpath could have been. Again, mainly missing that head is the big detractor in my opinion. Alright, and that was my review of these 3 Marvel Legends X-Force figures with Warpath X-23 2-pack and the Deluxe Archangel. Let me know if you enjoyed this review. Let me know... Oh, there goes Laura. Let me know if you got these figures and what you thought about them down in the comments below. And because I've now finally done this review, that means I will be updating my X-Men Extra Teams display, because now I can put these guys on the display and not have to remove them. And with how big Archangel's wings were, I didn't want to say, oh, I'm going to prep this and then try to add him and just ruin everything. So I figured I would wait until I had this review done to actually integrate them into the display. So now that I have, that will be the next display update. We'll be updating the X-Men teams. So make sure you are subscribed for all that. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're commenting down below. And with all that being said, I will talk to you all in another video, another post, another time.